All right. Excited to be up here again. I appreciate everybody coming. We got a big game this week, as you guys well know, with Old Dominion. They're coming off a big win over the conference champion from last year in Rice. So had a good practice yesterday. We'll go again today. It's a short week, so we got to cram an extra day in there, and we'll do that this week. But really excited about this opportunity. Old Dominion is a good football team. They're sitting at 3-1 overall. They're in first place, tied also with us in the Eastern Division at 1-0 in the conference. So this will be a really good matchup here. They've sold out their stadium on a consistent basis the last 2 or 3 years. Every game's been sold out. It's white out up there for them. It's the first home conference game. It's a national television game. So there will be a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm up there, but we can't worry about all that. We got to go up there and play our game, have a great week of practice this week, and be ready to roll. So they've got a really good quarterback, an experienced quarterback, seen a lot of snaps. They throw the ball all over the place, but they do a good job running the ball too. They keep you off balance enough with the running game that you have to make sure you're cognizant of that. So we got to do that. They're experienced on defense, especially on the back end. They've got 3 seniors there and a junior in the secondary. Got some junior college guys up front. It looks like it's an active defense. They don't give up a lot of big plays. They make you earn everything you get. So, and then they're very solid, sound in the kicking game. So, got to go up there, be ready to play. I know we will, and I'm excited about going up there. So, open it up to your questions.
Coach, throughout your career, you've played on pretty much every night except for, I think, Sunday and Monday night. And, of course, like you said earlier, this is a short week for you guys playing on a Friday night instead of a typical Saturday. How does it change your game plan since you guys have one less day of work this week?
Well, David, it does change a little bit. Plus getting back from Memphis so late, we watched film on the bus coming back as coaches on Old Dominion and preparing for them. We went a little bit longer yesterday, about 20 minutes longer than we normally do on a Sunday. Monday's a day off normally, and we'll practice today. And this will be more of a typical Tuesday practice, a little bit longer than a normal Tuesday practice. And then we'll start backing off again tomorrow. So the thing where you really lose some time is your meeting time. And that's where you got to get your players to come up and study as much film as they can on their own, during the course of the week. And then being a late night game on Saturday or Friday night, being an 8 o'clock game, we'll have a little bit more time at the hotel on Friday that we can squeeze in an extra meeting there. But really, to be honest with you, also we started preparing for it last week, knowing that you're going to play 2 games in about a 10-day period. So players did a great job of taking care of their body. They get, hydrating and getting in the cold tubs and everything that they got to do. You can't wait till this week to start doing that. So we're prepared for it. And from an organization standpoint, there won't be a lot of difference other than yesterday and today will be a little bit longer practice.
Old Dominion, I think their football program has only been around for like less than 10 seasons, and they've already made a quick progression, especially what they did before joining Conference USA and what they've done so far in the short time being Conference USA. What do you think about Old Dominion's quick progression as a program, and how much of a challenge will it be for you guys?
Well, they've done a good job. One, they've got phenomenal facilities. If you look at their facilities, you would have thought that they've been around longer than what they've been around. So they've got great facilities. They're in a great recruiting area of Virginia Beach up in that area. So they're able to attract, some really good players. And, they've done a good job. Coach Wilder's done a nice job in the 6 years that he's been there. So I'm not surprised by it with the resources that they've got. So they've done a good job, and it's like I say, it's going to be a challenge. We got to go up there and play. It isn't going to be a roll your hat out there and expect to win. We've got to play good. This team is really good.
Of course, you guys. I've had a. Of course, you guys. What do you guys, after a tough loss like last week? What do you guys need to do to kind of get back on track this week?
Well, obviously, you'd like to win it, but the big thing is it's always about us. We talk about that all the time. I'm going to give Memphis a ton of credit. They're a really good football team, and they played UCLA. Close. They had a chance to win that thing, and they beat us. We had our chances. We didn't execute. We didn't play well enough to win the game. But they had something to do with it. They're a good football team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win a bunch of games here the rest of the year. So, but we got to correct the mistakes that we made. We've got to execute a little bit better in areas. I thought we got better in some areas from the Western Kentucky game. But we just got to continue to improve and continue to coach and get better each week. So we'll worry about us, David, this week, and put that one behind you. You got to be tough. You got to be physically and mentally tough. When you have a setback, we had a setback. That's all, and we're not going to sit around and dwell on or anything like that. We're going to pick ourselves up and get ready to have a great week of practice and get after Old Dominion this week.
Coach, you touched on in the opening, their quarterback doesn't get any easier for you guys. This is another tough quarterback you're playing. How do you stop him?
I don't know if you do. The big thing is, not a lot of people have had success stopping him, not only just this year, but, the last 3 years. So he's really talented. He's a good player. He's smart with the football. He's accurate with the football. I think he's thrown one interception this year, so he's done a good job protecting the ball. The thing we've got to do defensively is we just got to keep the ball in front of us. We can't give up, the big play, the explosion plays, that they're so capable of making. So I know he's going to get his completions. I know he's going to get his yards. We just have to do a good job of tackling in space, and we've got to do a good job of making them earn everything they get.
Did you recruit him at all? I know him and Jordan went to the same high school in Georgia. I didn't know if you ever, at any point.
No, we didn't.
Their first conference game, you also touched on this in your opening. Sellout crowd expected, whiteout, prime time. You tell your guys anything extra this week to, just kind of throw that stuff out and just go play a football game?
You don't throw anything out. I always tell them, what to expect. I told them yesterday, they got a 22,000-seat stadium. It's been sold out for 3 years. It'll be packed, Friday night. It's national television. It's their whiteout game. So it's first home conference game. I tell them all that stuff just so they know. And I think that's, how you prepare for, when you go on the road, what to expect. We've never been there. I can't tell them anything about the locker room, but if I knew, I'd tell them. So we just try to prepare for everything. But at the end of the day, it's about us and going out there and, playing 60 minutes of good football.
Turnovers last year was a big thing for you. You were really, really good in the turnover department. This year, -3, I think, through 4 games. What do you have to do to protect the ball better on offense, and what do you have to do on the opposite side to, maybe get the ball out a few more times on the defensive side?
Well, I've always said, it's hard to control how many turnovers you get defensively. That's hard to do. But on offense, you control that. And we've had 3 very, very, very unfortunate ones. At the end of the day, they're still turnovers. So we got to do a better job protecting the ball. And probably halfway through the point last year or after 4 games, I bet we were probably pretty similar to where we are now. So you just got to keep coaching. You got to keep emphasizing it. I know we're going to get it. You got to give the other team credit. They've done a good job protecting the ball. We're still playing physical on defense. We're still doing everything we can to get the ball out like we always have. And, I have a ton of confidence that we'll start getting more than, 1 a game that we've gotten in the last 2 games.
I looked at this, kickoffs 2 for 24 on touchbacks. Had somebody ask me, is this by design, maybe kicking it short with Cody, or is it, do you want the touchbacks? I know sometimes some coaches will prefer to kind of, pooch it, and maybe your coverage team can get down there.
Go back and look, research forever how many people do get it. Cody doesn't have a leg to get it in the end zone, unless you're kicking with the wind. We're not going to kick it. We're not going to get touchbacks. So I mean, it's not by design. I wish we could kick it 9, 10 yards deep, every time. But we don't have that leg. It's not going to happen. So I think our kickoff coverage team has done a great job. We've covered so much better this year than last year. We gave up the one return against Memphis the other day where they got it out to about the 50. But we've done a great job covering kicks, this year compared to last year. We've kicked the ball better. We've kicked off more consistent this year than we did last year. So I've been pleased with how we've kicked the ball, how we've covered on our kickoff coverage, other than the one there against Memphis last week.
TT's doing what TT does. I think he leads the conference in tackles. Can you kind of grade his play through 4 games? And I know he was all over the field on Saturday night as well. Yeah,
I think TT's played well. Probably, his worst game of the year was probably Minnesota. He didn't play, up to his standards, and but still had a bunch of tackles in that game. But, TT's a really, really good football player. He's a very instinctive football player. He's smart. He studies. He's a good tackler. He's a physical tackler. He understands the game, and he plays hard. And when you play hard every snap, you're going to make plays, and that's what he does. So TT's a really good football player. Like I said, I think instinctively he's as good as anybody I've been around in a long time.
Hey, Coach, what is the value in not only a nationally televised game, but also one where I'm assuming maybe less than a handful of others across the country on a Friday night? That seems like it would give it additional spotlight for your program. Expand on that a little bit if that's true.
That's a great question. You're exactly right. Those, Thursday night games, those Friday night games, there's not a whole lot else going on. You're at home watching TV unless you're at a high school game. And especially for a college football player, when you play on Friday night, every other college football team in the country is, when they get back from the movie on Friday night, they're going to turn on the TV and they're going to watch you play whether they know you or not, just because they want to watch a football game. So it's a great opportunity for us as a university or us as a football program to get our brand out there, show them what our football team, what our football program is about. Friday nights, high school kids don't see a whole bunch of those games because they're playing. But, your other people in the area, you might pick up a few fans to watch that. So anytime you can get on TV, and then when you go to a recruit's home and you're recruiting a guy and you can say, hey, we played on national television on Friday night, on Thursday night, that always helps in the recruiting process.
What do you want the MT brand to show when people do tune in on Friday night?
Just how hard we play. That's what's important to me. Yeah, you want to win. You want to win every game. That's what's important. But to me, just how hard this team plays. They play with a tremendous amount of passion, a tremendous amount of competitive spirit, how hard we play, how tough we play. Hopefully they can they can see a win. Obviously that's what you want to see. But to me, just I take more pride when somebody says, Coach, your team plays hard. Your team never gives up. They never quit. And that means more to me than, I don't want to say more than winning a game, because winning is the ultimate, but you take as much pride in hearing that as you do the congratulations on a win.
And I know you've had blackouts here. They're going to have a whiteout there. Are those kind of nights just something that look cool on television, or are they daunting to the visitor who comes in and has to play in that setting?
I think it's cool for the players that play in the game. I think it's cool for the fans. I think it's, it adds an extra bit of spice to the game. We promote blackout for 3 months, here, and giving out T-shirts and all that. So I think all that just adds to the pageantry of college football. And I think it's something that's taken off here in the last 10 or so years. It used to be blackout. Now people are doing white outs and blue outs and red outs and all that stuff. But I think all that stuff is cool. And I know our players enjoy it. I'm trying to think if we've ever gone on the road. I'm sure we have, and they've had a blackout or a white out. I'm sure we have, but I can't remember. So, but I think all that stuff's neat for college football.
But it's not harder to play in.
No, it's once the game starts. I mean, you're not looking up in the stands. You don't see it all. I mean, you're focused on that. So, no, I think it's more, just for the pageantry of it to get people excited about coming to the game.
Coach, I know Memphis did a really good job of stopping the run game. How do you get the run game going again against Old Dominion?
Give them credit. They did a great job. Did a great job last year. We struggled against Memphis, especially the first 2.5, 3 quarters from a field position standpoint. I mean, they had us backed up the whole time. And so that limited a little bit what we could do in the passing game. Therefore, they put more people in there to stop the run and not making excuses. But that was all part of it. We've got to stay on blocks better. We've got to give our running backs, we got to give our offensive line a chance to execute better from a coaching standpoint. We got to help them. So we've just got to. Bottom line is we got to execute better. It wasn't a lack of effort or anything like that. Again, Memphis did a good job. We got to give them credit and not lose sight of that. But there's some things I think we can do that'll help us from a running game standpoint that we can do better this week.
Isaiah, just talk about how I know Coach kind of touched on this with you guys having one less day to prepare this week since you guys are on a short week playing on a Friday night. How does that change the preparation for you guys?
I think you should have to be more focused. You just got that one less day. I think you have to be more mature as a team. You have to, like Coach said, you have to take care of your body. You have to get in the film room. You have to study more. So I think that's the biggest thing. We should have to be more mature players in situations like this.
I know last week was kind of a tough one for you guys against Memphis, but what do you guys need to do as a whole to get back on track this week, especially getting back into conference play?
I think we just need to lock in, like Coach said, on the little things, focusing more. Memphis was a really good team, like Coach said, a really good team. I think their defensive front will be probably as good as defensive front we play all year long. But we just got to get back to our little things, focusing in on little things, and we'll be fine.
Isaiah, how excited do you get to play, like Coach was talking about, on a Friday night, national TV, every other team's going to be watching. How excited does that make you as a player?
Well, it's fun, people come back, they watch you just because you're the only game on. I think it's going to be a big-time game. Old Dominion's a good program. We haven't been there and played, so it's going to be fun traveling there, and I'm just ready for it.
Running game, obviously, like you said, it was a tough defensive front that you guys played on Saturday at Memphis. Is there one thing that you can put your finger on that you're like, this is the one thing we have to do better against ODU this week?
Plain and simple, from an offensive line point, we had to block better. We had to be more physical. We have to stay on our blocks longer to give our back seams, and we had to protect a little better and give our receivers time to get open.
Of course, this week doesn't get any easier for you guys. You guys will face one of the top quarterbacks that's well known, especially in Conference USA. What do you guys need to do to stop him and also the ODU high-powered offense?
Well, we just have to prepare and go along with our preparation that we do every single week. Make sure that we're able to rush the passer, get in his face, stop him, and play great coverage. Like Coach Stock said, we have to keep the ball in front of us the entire time and make sure we read our keys and play smart this week.
How does the preparation for you guys change this week with you guys having one less day to prepare since you guys are playing on a Friday night?
Well, like Coach said, we had to make Sunday practice about 20 minutes longer than what it usually is. And today we'll be practicing on our usual day off, but today's going to be like a normal Tuesday practice. So we're pretty much back on the same schedule, it's just longer practices. We have to go up and meet with our coaches and find out what we need to learn that they can't tell us while we're actually at practice.
I know you guys are coming off a tough loss this weekend. I know you guys have put it behind you guys and now are just focused on ODU. But what do you guys need to do to kind of get back on track this week after a tough loss?
Well, the goal to just get back on track is to always win. But we have to focus, prepare ourselves mentally, physically by staying healthy, hydrating, getting in cold tubs, and make sure that we're watching film and getting as much time with our coaches as we possibly can.
Leighton, national, and that's the same thing I asked Isaiah, national TV game, whiteout, sellout. You know, how excited does that make you to go, go kind of relish that opportunity to, sell the middle brand on a national TV game?
It's always exciting to be able to go into a new environment that you've never been to before, because you get to go on the road and see things that you've never seen before at a different crowd. But the best thing is we're always excited to go play at somebody else's stadium and to show our own brand, because you never know who's going to be watching, and every other college team will be watching. I have friends at different schools. I always call and say, hey, good luck the night before, I'll be watching. And it's always a great time to be able to go on the road.
Just a couple sacks for you guys in the last 3 games. And I know it's not always about sacks. It's just kind of about getting the pressure. Are you happy with the amount of pressure you guys are getting and got against Memphis? And if not, how do you get more pressure against another really good quarterback on Saturday night?
Well, you always want to do better than you've done before. And, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm disappointed, because we were able to get our job done and carry out our assignments. But we're always looking for more pressure and to produce as much as we possibly can.